our sports show. This is episode 762. I'm joined by special guest Anthony Spencer, former Dallas Cowboys linebacker. He also played for the New Orleans Saints, and he went to Purdue College, and he played with Rob Nikovich, another great NFL player. But I just want to say thank you for joining the show today, Anthony. It's truly an honor. And how are you and your family doing so far during this tough situation? And where are you guys currently located?
Thanks for having me on. We're located. I'm like we got a crib in Coppell. I live in Dallas, but I'm staying up in Frisco right now. I got a crib in Coppell that's under construction. So
Oh, wow.
our family is we're spread out with everything going on, and with the COVID and the winter storms, and it's been a crazy 2021 and 2020.
Wow. So first, I just want to before we get to your career, obviously, yesterday we got some good news finally about the what happened in the George Floyd situation. What was your thoughts on that yesterday? And obviously, hopefully, this is the turning point for everyone in the community that we can change. And hopefully, hopefully the people seeing what happened yesterday will hopefully can change into a positive way now.
Yeah, man, it's terrible just to I saw the video and just seeing just all around the nation. It's just like it's so much information out there now. Like I feel like the stuff that it's been happening for a long time, but now everybody has a phone, and it's just everybody's become more aware. Everybody's starting to get the information to be able to see it, and people are starting to be held accountable for their actions. And I feel like that's the most important thing for us to be able to grow as people and as the world and together. You know what I mean? So it was huge for him to have that conviction, because it obviously it was what it was, and you really can't hide that. And yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because it's really important to talk about. And I feel so bad for the George Floyd family, but at the same time, obviously he can't be brought back. But yesterday was some positive news for everyone.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, so I want to get to your career now. Obviously, you had a great career with the Dallas Cowboys and the Saints, but mainly the Cowboys. But for you, when did you start realizing that you wanted to play the game of football? And other than football, did you play any other sports growing up?
I played basketball. I had a basketball hoop in my front yard. My dad he loved playing basketball. My stepdad loved playing basketball. My granddad was a basketball player. So basketball was my first love. So that's what I did. Like grade school and whatnot, I really wasn't really had a chance to play, because I always went to a private school, and your grades had to be at a certain GPA. And so I wasn't always the best student, but I always loved playing basketball in recess. And whenever people would walk past my house, I would challenge them to a game of basketball. So I always was a competitor in that way. And with football, I played football for like one game when I was in grade school. Then the midterms came out, and then I had to wrap all that up. And then I didn't have another chance to play until I got into high school. And I just played mostly because all my friends were playing. Like everybody, like I knew I was gonna play basketball, and I hadn't played football before. So I just went out there and played because all my friends were playing. My one of my good friends, Kyle Lindsay, his dad, Coach Lindsay, was the coach, and so he was the head coach at my high school at the time. So I played and went out, and my freshman year, I think we went undefeated, we did go undefeated. I think throughout my high school career, I probably lost like 2 or 3 games, and one of them was like state championship. And yeah, we lost 2 games. We lost my very first game when I was a sophomore, and then I lost in the championship my junior year. So after that, like I was always good at it. People, you say that you do what you're good at. So I was good at it, and people gave me recognition for it. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So obviously, did you have like a player growing up? While growing up, did you look up to someone as a role model in the NFL growing up?
I didn't even watch sports. I didn't have like that. Like everybody was Michael Jordan. Like I love watching Michael Jordan. So that was one player that I really looked up to and enjoyed watching compete. But other than that, like I really didn't watch sports. I was more of the outdoors, riding my bike, playing outside. Like I didn't watch that much TV when I was younger.
Oh wow, interesting. So tell me, so what did you learn as a football player? What did you learn in high school as a player from your coaching staff? I mean, from your coaching and from your teammates. What was the key things that you learned in high school before you went to college?
Oh man, technique. I had this Coach X, and I can hear him to this day. Like everyone at Lures, my high school I went to, will remember him, but he's passed, rest his soul. But he would always get on me like, hey, like just doing the things right, doing it the right way, doing it with to your fullest ability, making sure that you're just doing stuff and paying attention, just growing. You know what I mean? Like he always would say, grow, get growth. Like he would, like, though he had terms that he would use, and like let's grow, or don't get bitter, get better. Like that was one of the things that I used throughout my football career. Was like I always took what my coaches said to me with a grain of salt. Like I'm not gonna get bitter about it. I'm gonna find a way to get better about it. So just that he was like, that was like the foundation of my sports, my world really in general, just because sports really, I mean, football is just like life. So it really helps you to, I mean, go through the ups and downs and be able to keep a positive attitude through it all.
So coming out of high school, how many offers did you have coming out of high school, and what made you choose Purdue?
Coming out of high school, I probably, like, going into my junior year, like I went to a bunch of camps my junior year, and I was getting, like, going into my senior year, and every camp that I went to Michigan State, IU, Northern Illinois, and then I got a couple offers from like Texas A&M, and just I was getting offers from everywhere. But then I took my SATs and my grades, like I was never that good of a student, so I had that sliding scale. So a lot of teams started pulling this stuff off the table, but Purdue was one of those teams that was really stuck by me, and they really helped me to, like, yo, you need to take X, Y, and Z classes over. So I took night school. They told me I should go and take a SAT prep course. So I went and took that. Like they were really pointing me in the right direction to get me eligible. And once I was become eligible, I started getting more attention again. But after that, at that point, like I already knew where I was going to go. I believe I committed to Purdue super early too. Like once I was able to, like I did.
So obviously, in Purdue, you had a lot of great talent around you, Rob Nikovich, and what was it like just playing in Purdue in front of those fans and the atmosphere and the teammates that you had?
Man, it was awesome. Just coming from, because I'm from Fort Wayne, it's a small town. Purdue's not a big town, but just on the weekends, like just to feel that environment, the energy, like that was like really when I started to really fall in love with the game, like being in the games. Like the games is the thing I miss most about football, because it's really authentic. Like you have to be completely logged in or synced in with what's going on out in the field, and you can't really have any distractions. Like you really have to be present. So just playing it up there, and then playing with guys like Rob, and I mean, it was like steel sharpened steel. Like a lot of the players that I played with during that time, we had a lot of draft picks come out just because we challenged each other. Like we worked out, when we were in the weight room, we challenged each other. When we did 6 a.m.s, we challenged each other. Like every point of like it was always a challenge. It was always a game within the game that we had with one another. So it was a lot of fun, and I love the fact that I was able to play with so many great players, and just to see their careers after the fact. And yeah, it's really nothing like it, having those type of bonds with people that you put a lot of work in, to see their growth and to see your growth, and just to see each other moving in the right direction.
Yeah. So what was it like? Obviously, you guys had a rotation of linebackers and defensive players. They like to rotate in Purdue too. So what was it like? What was the process like being in that situation where you have to rotate like every game, or sometimes you guys play you guys play with each other at the same time? But what was it like the rotation wise? What was that like?
So when Rob got there, it was me and Ray Edwards were the starter, and Rob was coming from a junior college, and I would never remember, like, he was coming in, he would practice with us, but then he would go do tight end stuff too. So I'm like I don't know if he's on this side, but I think after like the first couple of practices, like he ended up being a defensive end. But I mean, like I said, like steel sharpens steel. So we would challenge each other. Like we would like have these competition. It was healthy competition. Like we were against each other, but for each other at the same time. So it just made us better as individuals and as players, because like we couldn't take breaks out there, like, because you knew that Rob or Ray, like everybody wanted to have the opportunity to play, because it was like you got to have film to be able to go to the next level. But it wasn't, I don't even feel like it was about going to the next level for me. It was just about the competition. Like I always wanted to be out on the field playing. I think even when I was in NFL, like I ended up playing like 90% of my snaps. Like I never wanted to come off the field. So it was just a thing like that. So it was good. Like it really helped me to have that healthy competition, because when you get to the next level, like they're always bringing somebody in new, like each year. So it really prepared me for my career in the NFL.
Spence, us Cowboy fans, we know how you brought it to the field. You brought 100% you helped our team a lot, man. When you guys, that defense was loaded when we had that defense.
Yeah. We had I mean, I've played with a lot of great players, man. All the players that I've played with, they all brought different personalities and intensities to the game. So it's really awesome to have that kind of environment where you can learn from a lot of different people, because I feel like that's how the world is, in a sense. Like you got to be able to adapt to your environment, and in the NFL is just a constant new environment that's happening. You have to be able to adapt and try to mold it to how you want it to be at the same time. So
So this is a two-part question here. The first one, take me back to your combine process. What was that like? And was the Cowboy, obviously the scouts there, was any Cowboy scouts there at that time to look at you at the combine? And what was it? And then take me to the draft process when you got drafted in 07, round 1, pick 26.
Okay, so this is a funny, like, it's not funny, but before the draft, or not before the combine, I was working out in Disney World, Tom Shaw's training facility down there. And I'm working out hard, getting ready for the combine. And I get my first massage, and then like the very next day after, like she tells me to drink a lot of water. And then the next day after, I go out there and I'm working out. And then after I get done working out, I'm walking like behind the scenes, like behind all the rides and stuff, like where like all the workers are. And I started catching a cramp in my leg, and like I bent down to stretch it, and I started catching a cramp in my stomach, and I'm standing back up. And so at this point, I got like a full body cramp thing going on. And so long story short, I ended up spending like a whole week in the hospital because like my muscles started breaking down and going into my kid. Like it was some crazy stuff, but I didn't have an opportunity to really work out going into the combine. So the combine was really like, it was different for me, because I was like, coming out of the hospital, like, and I don't know if I should have been working out or doing so, but I went out there and I did the best that I could. And the interviews process was, it was different, because they ask you all these really, I don't want to say personal questions, but they really try to get underneath your skin and ask you questions about just your past and the things that you've been doing. And I remember they try to make you uncomfortable. So I went the Jets, and it was a room full of probably 15 people. And I remember Curtis Martin being there. And I was like, at that time I was watching football, so I knew who Curtis Martin was. So and then everybody went around the room saying who they were. Like everybody said their name. And then the guy that was doing the interview was like, everybody just introduce yourself. So how many of these people's names do you remember? And I'm like, I know Curtis Martin, so I knew his. But other than that, and I think Nick Mangini, I don't even remember who the coach was at the time. They just had a new coach. He's like, do you even know who the head coach is?
Eric Mangini, or was it Eric Mangini?
Eric Mangini, yeah. And I was like, I have no idea. So it's just in those, like, they try to make you really uncomfortable, and then just try to get under your skin. But that process was it was different, but I enjoyed it a lot. Then getting drafted, it was awesome. Like my agent asked me if I wanted to do the whole New York thing, and I never, like I said, I never really watched sports, so I didn't know like all about it. And like walking up, but I was really quiet, and I like to keep to myself. So I was like, I'll just have something at my house, like I just want to watch it. But then I went out the night before, and I come home, and my mom has like the whole neighborhood at the house. I'm just like, I wanted to watch it by myself, because I had been projected to be a first round pick, but I wasn't really sure. And I didn't want to be like sitting there waiting and being upset. Like I didn't want to feel like I didn't want to feel the pressure. It was already enough pressure in itself in the whole drafting process. So, but it was awesome. Then once I got drafted, and then Jerry Jones called me, like I didn't know what to say. I was just like, like it was really surreal. And like once I got off the phone, it was just all joy and tears. And like having my family there, it was definitely something I will remember forever. What was another? You say?
He said, so like for example, take me. Actually, you know what? Take me back to that call when Jerry Jones said when you see the Dallas area code on your phone. So when you
Yeah.
answer it, and it's Jerry Jones, and man, a legend owner in the game. So take me back to that call, and obviously you talked to the defensive coordinator and the rest of the coaching staff, and Jason Garrett was there, right? If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he was there that
Yeah,
time.
no, Wade was
Oh, Wade Phillips, yeah, Wade Phillips. Yep,
Wade was the defensive coordinator at the
yeah,
time as well. So
yeah. So
it was like I said, I was never a big sports person, so it was like I was talking to the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and I didn't know him like Jerry Jones. Like it wasn't like Jerry Jones, the legendary. Yeah, I mean it wasn't. I didn't feel that way, so I just thought I was talking to the owner. I just tried to be super respectful. You like, let's go win a championship. I'm like, yo, let's go do that. Like I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was kind of weird because they called. And as he called me, the Dallas Cowboys were coming up on the thing. He was saying he's about to pick me, and then they picked. Like so, I was like, I was super happy, but tried it like I didn't. Um, it was fun. It was fun. I didn't know how to react to it, but at the same time, it was super surreal, and it was moments of my life that were legendary for me.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So take me back. So what was it like playing on the Cowboys defense? You had DeMarcus Ware, you had yourself, you had Terrence Newman, Barry Church, obviously, and you had and also you had you had obviously we had a lot of great talent. But take me back. Take me back. What was it like just playing on that defense?
Oh man, it was awesome. My first year there, it was super difficult just because I was a rookie and I was put into the starting position because Greg Ellis was
Yeah.
coming back off of an Achilles injury, and I was on all the special teams at the same time, and I was being held to this certain standard of, yeah, I mean, being the first round pick and having to just take care of my job and make sure that I'm doing it the right way. But it was hard because it was like playing a college game in every single practice. Like the game was faster, things happened a lot quicker. You had to know what you were doing. You had to know where you were being. I was learning a new defense, and I had a coach that wasn't very. He didn't take any excuses. Like he didn't want to hear. Like no, just get your job done. And like I would be sitting, like he would be going off on me in meetings. I'm just sitting in the back of the room, like you have those moments as a player. I feel like almost every NFL player that I talk to has had those moments like, yo, I don't know if this is for me. Like I don't know if this is like if I signed up for the right type of job description. You know what I mean, I didn't read all the fine print. So, but it was definitely it was awesome for me just because it really shaped me into the person that I am today and really helps me to be able to deal with situations in life and the things that happen. I mean, once I got done with playing ball, it was like I thought that stuff was hard, but then you started having to deal with like real responsibilities of family and taking care of. Yeah, I mean, like it's different levels to it. But I feel like each time, like it prepares, like life just prepares you for the next thing and the next journey as you go through it.
Yeah, so take me back to your rookie season in '07. Obviously, we had a loaded roster. I had Martin Grammatica on my show, and I had Chris Canty on the show too. So I had
Oh,
both
yeah.
of them. Yeah, it was awesome. So what was it like being surrounded with Tony Romo, Terrell Owens, Sam Hurd, Bobby Carpenter, Chris Canty, Marcus Spears? It goes go down the list. Keep going. What was
Right.
it like just being surrounded with a lot of talent in that year?
It was awesome. Like the locker room environment was just pulling into the parking lot because you would see those times with T.O. where he'd show up in different little cars and different little things. Like, so just seeing like the different personalities in the, because I was super quiet. Like I don't think I spoke. Like I was always quiet. I was listening. Like I would just sit around and observe. I'm an observer. I like to take the environment and situations in before I really put myself out there. So it was something that I really won't ever forget because like you said, all those players, like they all had great runs in the NFL. They all had different personalities. They all brought different aspects of the world to that locker room. You know what I mean? Like it was all a bunch of different cultures, and just living in that space, I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that environment.
So this is a two-part question again. So what did you learn from a guy like DeMarcus Ware? Because this guy is unbelievable, coming from Troy, and also he won a Super Bowl with Denver. But what was it like learning from him? And also, as a whole defense, do you guys think that all you have to do is get forward, stop the other team in 4 downs, because you know the offense will score with T.O. and Marion Barber, so, and the other weapons we had. So just take me back to first. What was it like learning with DeMarcus Ware, and then
Oh man, D Ware was. I mean, I still have a relationship with D Ware, and I'm still learning stuff from him to this day, because he's always putting himself out there. He's always doing things and making himself. He's not afraid to be uncomfortable in situations. So he's a great friend. I mean, he has information that you really don't know, like, until you start talking to him. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I do that, like the photography, and then he's doing computer science. I'm like, bro, like where do you put a limit on? Like, he's DJing and doing music, and like he does everything. Whatever he really has a want for, he really goes after. So that's really what I learned most about him, is like, really don't put a ceiling on what you are in this life. You know what I mean? Because you can do and be whatever you want to, as long as you put the effort into it. So that's one big thing that I learned from him. What was the second part?
Oh, the second part. What did you guys? So as a whole defense. So what was your?
Oh yeah, during that year, man, like it was like I never, after like the first couple games, I was like, we're not gonna lose we're not gonna lose any games. Like I couldn't see us losing. Like it was like every game that we went into, like that we just had that confidence that like everybody's going, like if everybody does their job, like we're gonna win. Like if everybody just takes care of their part, everybody just does what they're supposed to do, we're gonna find a way to win. And that's a great feeling to have until you lose. You know what I mean? Because then you really start to see, and I feel like that's where it really defines a team. It's like when you lose and how you respond to those losses. So I feel when we beat the Giants, or I don't even remember who we lost to that year. We only had like 3 losses, but I remember losing to the Giants in that last game, and I was just like, because I don't really feel like we should have, because we had beat them 2 times before, and I feel like we went into that game feeling like we were going to win it, like just how we went into all the other games. But once you get into the playoffs, man, like the whole, like everything changes. Like it's a whole new season. You got to take it, like, and that's really what I learned from that. Like you got to really change and find your weaknesses that you've adapted throughout the year, because you do start to make little things or tendencies that you build through the year, and just being able to find those and fine tune them and just get better. Yeah, I mean, and that's where like that year really showed me, like I went into camp like probably in like tip top shape, and throughout the year it kind of, I don't want, like, kind of dwindled off. But like, my next year is like I didn't go into camp at the best of shape, and I just got stronger. I just tried to build through the year instead of taking it in there perfect and then kind of having a fall off, but just having just what you need to get into camp, and just building and as you went throughout the year.
So obviously the NFL is a business, and a lot of players move around. For you, how tough is it leaving Dallas and you had to go to New Orleans, a different team, but also you got to play with great players there like Drew Brees, and then also you played with Sean Payton. So first, how tough is it leaving Dallas, and what was it like signing with New Orleans?
Man, it was super tough, but it was like I was getting towards the end of my career, and because I don't want to say end of my career, but I was getting towards where I knew that I wasn't putting as much into it that I wanted. Like I had just had a baby, I had a family, I got married, like I started to have other responsibilities, and that was something that was always important to me, is just having my family and being there for my family and taking care of them. So leaving Dallas was more of a, because they started playing the 4-3, and I had hurt my knee, and I didn't want to. I like to be able to stand up. I like to be able to be in a linebacker position. So that was really more of the decision, other than wanting to leave Dallas. I never really wanted to leave Dallas. It was just I didn't feel like I can be as productive in that defense as I could in another one. And I went to New Orleans because Rob was there, and Rob Ryan, and I had one of my best seasons playing with him. So I really thought that me going there would be the best choice for me.
So what did your obviously Rob Ryan coached Dallas too, and but what was it like playing in New Orleans in front of those fans? And New Orleans is known for their Mardi Gras. So what was it like playing in that stadium and playing with Drew Brees and playing
You
around?
know,
Mhm.
I didn't like that. My last season, I ended up hurting my knee during training camp, so I didn't end up playing in for new. I played for them, but I wasn't on. Like I didn't play because I was injured pretty much the entire year. So I really, but I do know like the times where we did play in the stadium, like it was one of the most electric, uh, super exciting stadiums in the whole NFL, just because they're fans and that city just like it's like even when just living there, like the people are so nice,
Right.
the environment is super electric, like everything about it is like really alive, like the whole city is really alive. You feel that in the stadium when you play there.
Hmm. So now looking back at your career, how grateful are you to be in this position to be able to play the game you loved? And you had over 383 tackles, 33 sacks, 10 forced fumbles. What was it like? Just how grateful are you to be in this position and played with two storied franchises in Dallas and New Orleans and played with great players in your career?
Oh man, I really feel blessed, really, truthfully, because just being able to be in those locker rooms around those people, like they're some of the most unique and intelligent and I would say controversial people that I've ever been around, but you learn so much in those environments just because it's real, it's authentic. Like you can't be fake on the field. Yeah, I mean like that, like people that are like that, they end up not being in there that long just because you got to give your all to it. You got to put in and you'll get out what you put into it. But you really have to be 100% in that game. Like you have to be committed to it. And people that are committed to things like that, you learn a lot from them, just having the discipline and having the commitment. Like those things they sound easy, but those are the hardest thing to do, is just to be consistent, just to do the same thing over and over and over and over, to have that mundane, but just still have that growth that comes from it. Like people, it's really hard to be that way. And just being in those locker rooms and being around like the Jerry Jones and the Sean Paytons and the Rob Ryans and yeah, I mean all the coaches, the Paul Pasqualonis, like they bring so much knowledge and wisdom and uh, it was awesome. Like every part of my NFL football career was super knowledgeable, and I learned everything that I feel like I needed to learn to equip me to live my life the way that I want to live it. Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot about myself. Like those environments teach you a lot about yourself as well. Yeah, I mean, because you find yourself with your back against the wall and having to do a lot of things that you don't feel or want to do. Yeah, I mean, like I feel like the more we do the stuff that we don't want to do, the better off we end up being as individuals. So, I mean, it really taught me to take heed and do the things that were necessary to be in the places I wanted to be.
Yeah, and also I forgot a Pro Bowler in 2012. There you go.
Oh,
So what advice would you give to these young athletes now and young kids that are trying to get to their goals and trying to achieve them?
uh, listen before you speak, because a lot of people try to talk and say how they feel about things, and you really can't. Like listening is a two-way skill. Like you have to, I mean, learning is a two-way skill. Communication is a two-way skill. I'm sorry. Like you have to be able to listen more than what you speak to really understand. And I feel like a lot of people just in general, when they're communicating, they always are trying to get their point across or share what they feel. And you miss a lot when you're trying to think of something to say when
Right.
you're in a communication environment. So I would say just listen to the guys ahead of you, listen to even the guys that's coming in underneath you, because you really never know where the apple that will spark the whatever you need to learn what you need to learn is going to come from. So I just say listen. I think that's the biggest and hardest thing for a professional athlete to do.
Yeah, so like you said earlier, that family, spending time with family is important. So for you, now, especially during this tough time, how has it been spending time with your family, your wife, and your kid?
It's been awesome, man. I get to take them to school. I pick them up. My son is homeschooled right now. They play sports. My son's playing basketball. My daughter plays tennis. She does dance as well. So I get to experience a lot of that stuff that I really like. When my daughter started walking, I was on the road in Arizona or something. She was like, my wife was like, "Oh, she's starting to walk." I was like, "Push her down, like don't let her start walking." I wanted to be able to see it, you know what I mean? So just being able to be around and see the first, like teach them how to ride a bike, teach them how to dribble a ball, you know what I mean? Like those things are, I feel like, important to me. Like I'm really locked in on like experience and trying to be present in all their activities, or just in the day to day, just really being present with them and talking with them and just teaching them, you know what I mean? Teaching them and bringing them up so they know right from wrong, and you know what I mean, just giving them knowledge, stuff that I wasn't privy to when I was younger, and just sharing with them any kind of questions that they ask me about. Like I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, let's look it up," you know what I mean? So I love them because they're always asking me questions. Like I was saying, like the questions that they ask, I listen to them. Like I don't be like, "Oh yeah," just I listen to what they're asking me. I'm like, "Oh," because they always have like these really super intriguing questions that you really wouldn't think of unless you were a 7-year-old or a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? So it really gives you a different perspective on life.
Yeah. Speaking of your wife, happy belated birthday to her.
I'm sorry, you cut out right
Oh,
there.
can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Oh. Hello?
Oh,
Oh, can you hear me?
oh,
Oh, there we
oh,
go.
there you are. There you are.
I don't know what happened there. We have been having some connection issues here, but I was gonna say happy belated birthday to your wife.
Oh yes, thank you. Yeah, she had her little pajama jam with all her friends, so she took it back to the 16 and having sleepovers and stuff. So she had a great time on her birthday.
Yeah, so now we do this fun little segment called a rapid fire segment. Do you have time for this quick rapid fire segment?
Yeah,
All
you
right,
say you say rapid.
yeah, rapid fire segment. Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Kevin Hart.
Favorite memorable game. Favorite memorable game that you played in Dallas.
My last game,
Uh,
Detroit Lions.
hmm. All right, who has a better beard, you or James Harden?
Ooh, I'll go to James. I'm working on mine still.
Favorite food.
Oh, salads.
Hmm. Funniest teammate that you played with in Dallas.
Uh, Marcus Spears.
Hmm. Would you consider being like a defensive coach down the line?
When my son gets old enough.
Hmm. Um. So what was so outside of playing? I mean, what was your pregame music before a game?
Ooh, it changed year to year, but mostly Lil Wayne.
Oh. Who? So obviously the NFL draft is coming up soon, and the Cowboys have the 10th pick, and there's a lot of buzz going around that the Cowboys want Kyle Pitts, but Barry Church said he's not a fan of drafting Kyle Pitts at 10. He wants a defensive guy. What do you think?
Oh, I can't answer that question full heartedly because I don't watch as much football as I used to.
um, so what are your thoughts on Jerry Jones still going at it in the league as an owner?
I think it's awesome, man. Like you keep moving, keep going. As soon as you stop, things stop. So
What? All right, do you think? All right, let me ask you this: all right, what was it like playing with Marion Barber, the running back?
it was awesome. He was a competitor, and he was funny as well. So you rarely get those guys that are nice and mean at the same time.
Favorite DMX song of all time?
Oh, that whole first album, like I remember when it came out, like I would just listen to it nonstop. So I can't really say just one song, but the first album was my favorite.
What was it like playing in Jerry's World throughout your career?
Oh man, it was awesome. It was you really can't I can't really explain it just because you have so much exposure to everyone and everyone has that same type of exposure to you. So it's super authentic and you get to enjoy the fans to the utmost.
So the last three things here before I let you go, we partnered up with two companies. The first one is called Eplin X Cosmetics. It's my aunt's company. I'll send you the link, and the promo code is NR20. If your wife is interested or her friends are interested, they can check it out. It's a woman's product thing that we partnered up with for my aunt. We're just trying to help her out, promote them so we can get more traffic for the show. And the other one we partnered up with is called Bucking Beards. The promo code is NR20. If you guys are, if you're interested, or some of your friends are interested, I'll send you the link too. And the promo code is the same NR20. And the last two things, we're part of a foundation called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. Obviously, he's a former NFL coach. He just got a coaching job again as an offensive coordinator on Eddie George's staff in Tennessee State. So he's part of that staff, and actually he's coming on the show today as a returning guest. So I'm going to send you that foundation. We're ambassadors for the foundation. We're trying to help them prevent human trafficking and making sure the kids stay safe and the community stay safe. And
Awesome.
and the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers?
Oh man, we appreciate your efforts. We appreciate everything and the sacrifice that you put out there, the service to it. That's a one job where it's all service and you really don't get that much appreciation for it, but just know that you're appreciated and that we love that you do the job that you do. My sister and my sister-in-law are both nurses, so
Oh wow!
yeah,
Tell them I said thank you for their service.
we'll do.
Yeah, well said. And there it is. That wraps up 762, episode 762 for the NR Hour Sports Show. Thank you, Anthony Spencer, for joining the show. Obviously, a former NFL linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, went to Purdue University, had a great career. We would like to have you back as a returning guest so you can meet the full team. And hopefully we can, I don't know if we can do this. Can you ask D Ware if he can come on the show too?
Yeah, I'll ask him. I'll ask him.
And you know how to end the show. You know what to say. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah. But yeah, thank you again, and you and your family stay safe.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Yep.